What is up, guys? New project boat hit the driveway today. That's my buddy Dusty and Terry Lee's boat. It's going to be up on the chopping block here very soon. But it needed some TLC. I apologize if you hear something back there. Actually, I'm going to shut my garage because it's got this little Hello Doctor smoker running. Does a great job. I'm going to throw some steaks on there in a little bit. I don't want my garage to smell like that. But anyway. It was brought to me because Dusty put a brand new battery in and it wouldn't start. I guess it's his son-in-law took it out the last time it was out. They bought a new boat, by the way, new to them boat. This has just been sitting around being neglected. So they brought it to me to try to get it up and going. This is a 1997 Ranger Sport R82. It's an 18-foot boat, single axle trailer. Has a Mariner 135 on it. Now, again, it was brought to me because it wouldn't crank. It was a crank no start issue. I started looking around and diving into the area here that is the kind of the battery area here. These two batteries right here and here are trolling motor batteries, obviously. There's the onboard charger and the starting battery there with the oil reservoir. Well, I assume what had happened was that the last person that had taken it out, which from my understanding was his son-in-law, probably got stranded on the lake with a dead battery, and he swapped the main power and ground from the motor to the trolling motor battery, probably to get it started and to get home, and then just said, F it, I'm going to leave it that way. So figured that out. Dusty bought a new battery, put it in there, attached what he thought were the main power and ground. Turns out that wasn't the main power and ground. What I think that is a power connector to this Garmin that's here. But you can see this thing is in pretty rough shape. It's not in rough shape, to be honest with you, but it just needs some TLC. It needs cleaned. Needs some. It needs a once over. There's a couple of things missing here, up here on the cap of the trailer jack. Should be a cap there. I'm gonna 3D print that, put that on there. Gotta know. Got the old on another line stickers on both consoles. Has new carpet, new seats, new upholstery, which is awesome. So that's going to clean up well. 135, once I got the batteries all hooked up, fired right on up. Looks like they have a rope set up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the diameter of these, which I assume is probably 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to 3D print a clip to go on both sides of that so they can get rid of that janky looking rope. So this is what you guys are seeing. First look of what it looks like right now. I'm going to take you guys along with me setting this thing up, trying to get it a little bit nicer, get it ready to sell. I did notice that this thing looks like it's broken. These are just guides, obviously, to get the trailer or the boat on the trailer. Might find somebody to weld that up. It's going to have to be done. Bunks and stuff look fairly decent. Got a laser, so a Quicksilver Laser 2 prop on it with the old whale tail, the hydrofoil stabilizer. So again, pretty rough shape the way it came to me. Let's see if we can't dive into this thing and make it legit again. Got some mold growing there on the carpet. All that stuff right there is pretty gross stuff. It does have a fairly new trolling motor on it, from what I understand. I haven't taken it off here, but I think it has a it's not the Fortrex, it's the one prior to that. Maybe it is the Fortrex, I don't know. Let's get this cover off, take a look at it. Minn Kota Maxim, 65 pound thrust, 24 volts. Does not have the recessed trolling motor tray. Whoever buys this thing, definitely going to be something that you're going to want to put in this boat. Probably makes it so much nicer instead of standing up there like Captain Morgan all day. See, look at that right there. I don't know if you guys see it up underneath there, but there is a Picasso Shaky Vibe. I think this boat is going to clean up well. Bunch of random wires that I'm going to have to figure out where it goes. Looks like some speaker wire things. Again, just going to work my way through, trying to get all this stuff. They put the new sticker in there for that. But all in all, let's dive into rehabbing this boat. I guess let's call this Waller's Boat Repair. Let's get it. Next step on this boat. One, it's a mess. I'm sure you guys can see a second ago, or I'll just show you again. Way down in here, this stuff is gross. This onboard charger just hanging out in there. There's just so much wire. There's like speaker wire running in here, I think. Terry Lee told me there was some like LED deck lights that went around the boat at one given time that are no longer there, so that stuff can be taken out of there. But it just looks nasty in here. Needs cleaned up in the worst way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the plug in it. You see that I got it tilted at an upward angle so it's running back. I'm going to fill the hull here, the bilge area, up with water. And I'm going to pour Better Boat bilge cleaner in here. And I'm going to let it set overnight. And then I'm going to get started on it again tomorrow. So I just need to clean it up in there so it's not so grody and I can see, you know, what's happening with all the wires. One, I want to make sure that the bilge pumps are working. The live well pump is working, both of them. There's just a lot of stuff that needs to be done for the boat before it gets sold and sent on to the next person. But as you can see here, I mean, for a 97 model, by the way, this is a 2.0 liter Mariner 135 made by Mercury. You can see pretty clean for a 97. Got some cobwebs and things down in here. I'll take care of all that stuff. Got a big mess here. I want to make sure that this hydraulic steering ram is not leaking. You guys can see it from this angle here. Just, I mean, it's not terrible. Got a breaker over there in the corner for the, what I assume was probably the trolling motor, but that is a main breaker for something. It is off now and the boat will start, so it is not for the main starting engine. Quick note, how I was able to figure out where or why the connectors were wrong. And if you look here, this and this, they're both black wires. You would think that one would be red, one would be black, but just for furthering your knowledge, the positive is always going to come into the starter solenoid here, and the negative will come off the bottom of the starter. So there's that. So again, what I did was I took my multimeter here, put it up on continuity mode right here, and touched the end of it here and the end of it there and found continuity, so I knew that this was the positive. Put it on the positive. Again, went from here to the negative, and Bob's your uncle. We got some stuff going on there. You can see here, this is a charger lead that should be going to this battery right here. That is totally gone. So there's just some things that needs to be going over. So hull cleaner, I'll dive into it tomorrow. Let's check her out. Let's get this thing tip-top shape. Could be yours for the right price. It is for sale. Will be for sale when I get done. One thing that I can do while that's soaking in there, again, I got Better Boat hull cleaner in there right now. Just put a big bunch of water in there so it's not up to where the battery's at. It's not going to ruin that battery charger. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to get a measurement here on this ladder. So again, you don't want this thing going down when you're running down the lake. So what I want to do, looks like there used to be something here that would hold it, that is gone. So I am going to grab a measurement here, which again, I think this is, I thought it was 3/4, but it's actually I'd say 3D printing it's going to be about I'd say 0.9 would work, because we don't want it to be super tight on this side, but we do want it to be super tight over here. So I'm going to make it like 0.9 on one side, and then 0.8, 0.87, so 7/8 of an inch there. So I'm going to go knock that out on a 3D printer. I'm not going to bore you guys to death with that, because I'm sure you don't care, but I'm going to go into Fusion 360, create some kind of figure 8 deal that will latch on one side, kind of like just kind of C-clamp around that thing. It may not work right off the rip, but I don't think it's going to be super hard to do. I did forget one measurement here. Need to figure out how far this thing sets off of here when it's 0.3-ish. But if I want them to be, seems like you'd want them to be midways here, so I'd say 0.3 will be just fine for the gap. Now that I got most of the boat cleaned back up the way it should be, I am now going to dive into the wiring, which is putting the cart before the horse. I should probably obviously dove into the wiring first to make sure it would everything would, you know, be tip-top shape. But the motor starts and runs, so that's the least of my worries. I'm not getting power to the main anything, so it's either wiring's all messed up in here, or you know, I'm gonna have to do some rewiring. But if you look in here now, much cleaner than it was. That Better Boat bilge cleaner in there worked out really well. I'm gonna move that the charger back up here on this flap where it should have been to start with. I'm going to take all the wiring here off of these batteries and rewire them how they should be. That way I can start from there and know I want to get the trolling motor working, because right now it is not working. Also, one thing that I really don't like here about the trolling motor is that all this stuff is like weirdly backwards. There's a small ant infestation in this boat somewhere too. But where this thing is sitting to the right, the trolling motor pedal should not be buried like that. And that's because of this being angled wrong. So I'm going to fix that, get it in there how it should be, and then you know, you can see the carpet and stuff cleaned up very well. There's still some dirty spots that could be, you know, if somebody buys this boat, they can spend a little bit more time on it. But just a little quick once over. I did put some ceramic coating on the gauge cluster, or the you know, the plastic and the trim and stuff. Made it look so much better. We get the shop back out, hit all that stuff in the floor, get all that crap out of that drain right there, and then I'm going to hit the seats with a little bit of vinyl cleaner from Better Boat as well. So wiring and a few other things. So let me dive into it and I'll show you what I'm doing when I get done with it. All right, that took forever. You can see down in there, I hope you can anyway. See what I can see down here on the back. You guys can't see too well, but man, it looks a lot better down there. I got it all cleaned up. Still not perfect, but much better. I got the charger mounted back there like I said I wanted to. A couple of things. I'm really worried that the last guy to use this thing, who, as I mentioned, I I assume got stranded and needed a way home, and just started ripping things off of the battery and put what he thought, well, what he could to every battery until it started, and he got it home and then just left it that way because the trolling motor doesn't work right now. Half of the power stuff, like the bilge pumps, don't work. But when I finally got power to the switches over there, all the switches were turned on. Like they were all in the on position. Like I don't know if a kid was in there playing with it or they just smashed every switch they could to try to get the boat going. But all those switches are on, which means the nav lights are on. There's no nav lights in there, obviously, but the power is running to them. Power is running to both of the live well pumps, and I'm fearful that if that's the case, then both bilge pumps are going to be shot because they probably ran until the battery went dead, or even worse than that the battery or the bilge pumps, which you can see way down in here. See that orange canister there? The wiring here is not too bad. Ranger does have those little quick plugs that you can plug in new bilge pumps if you need to. But again, got a lot more room for activities down here. I haven't decided where I want to run that main wire out of so they can plug it in. Another thing that I find a little bit weird are these two big giant holes that are back here. Normally there is a compression plate or a, not a compression plate, but a I guess a support plate that the motor gets bolted all the way through there. And this support hits the splash well here and uses the whole transom to hold the engine on. Those are gone. The main plate that goes across through there, you can kind of see where there was an edge like right there, so it should come all the way around here and go all the way across, but it is gone. I'm not sure how this engine is connected on there. It must be just connected to the back of the transom here, which will be fine, I'm sure of it. But I'm thinking about 3D printing something to kind of go around this and then put that plug through here. That way the plug can't go back through there. So if you need to plug the boat in at night, you don't have to take this cover off right here to do that. You should be able to just leave that down, plug the boat in, which will be coming out here. But that's neither here nor there. I'm right now, I have everything connected to that charger down there, and the charger says that the batteries are either reverse polarity or they're too low to charge. So that's why I have a 10 amp charger on this one right now. I'm gonna let it set for about an hour that way. You can see here I got the connectors going on there, and then I'm going to do that same thing to this back battery head. Again, the batteries are fairly old. You can see back there 121, so this is, they're 5 years old, so these batteries are no doubt shot probably. But I'm trying to get them charged up enough to make sure that everything is working correctly, because right now nothing does. Switches come on, but I have no power to anything. The two graphs that you see up there, the one on the dash on the console and the one up front, no power to them. And really it's all connected here on these trolling motor batteries, and it shouldn't be. For example, this black wire and the red wire here are the main power connected, or the main, I guess, bus line that goes to the main fuse panel up there. If this battery's bad or whatever, that should run to the starting battery 100% of the time. But we'll dive into that in just a minute. But I'm gonna charge up for a while and see what happens. Hopefully I can get some life out of this old girl. It's been about an hour. I've had those batteries back there on charge on 10 amps. Actually it's been about an hour and a half or so. It's getting dark here, but slowly starting to figure this thing out. I got some lights now that I didn't have earlier. Trolling motor was a mess, man. I don't know what was going on with it, but for the sake of all intents and purposes, we have a working trolling motor. So maybe the batteries were just super dead. That's what I'm hoping. But still have no power to either of the graphs. I assume there's probably a main power switch, which is probably here. But when I hit that, still not getting anything. I am starting to get some lights on the dash. Some of the, like, the rocker switches, if you mess with them enough, the lights will come on. So that's the nav lights, both of them work. I haven't checked the back yet, but I assume they were. Now this is the problem right here. So this is a bilge pump. These are aerator pumps or the live well pumps. I'm not getting power to any of those. So I'm thinking what's happening is, again, these switches were all left like this. When I finally put power to it, they were all rocked down, which if there was power at all to those pumps, they just sat there and ran until the battery went dead, and I guarantee you it was long enough to burn those pumps up. So I am going to search the wiring and put some power to it tomorrow. This is going to be another day project because I am one whipped puppy. But right now, hopefully I've got those batteries charged up enough that the actual battery charger will pick them up and start charging them. So I'll keep it plugged in this evening and then come back out here tomorrow and really dive into it. A minute ago I mentioned running the main power cable out that hole. More I think about that, it's not a great idea. One, that's a splash well. It's always going to have water in it, so it's going to corrode the end of this thing right here, the power cable, which I don't want. So I assume that it's just going to have to kind of live back here somewhere, and they'll have to open the hatch to get it. Now I could put a female connector on there on another cable and run it up here. There is a little bit of a, I don't know if you guys can see it here or not, but there's a hole right here. I'm sure I could feed that through there and put that plug out there. Problem is that I really don't know what was there. Probably was that plug at one point. That's where they're normally at, so you can just pull it out and plug it in. I'm sure that charger back there is new. But I might be able to 3D print something that fits in there so it doesn't fall through there. But again, that cable is obviously not long enough to reach back there, so I'd have to extend that somehow. And again, it's not my boat. Don't want to spend a ton of money and a ton of time on it. This boat will be for sale once I get all, all the kind of quirky things out of it, like all this wiring here. This is all no good wiring from lights that were around the deck that are no longer there and no longer used. So I'm going to get all that stuff out of there, but I do like the way that looks now. So much more room for activities in there. Super looking, very nice looking. I was able to get that all cleaned up in there. All right, diving back into the wiring on this boat. It's got me quite confused. Show you what I'm talking about in just a second. Has these standard blade style fuses in it. So what I'm doing is taking my multimeter, putting it on 20 volts DC, and then I am touching both the leads here and here. And as long as the switch is on, or I should have power to these fuses 90% of the time, unless they're switched before the fuse. But right now I'm not getting any power to any fuse on this fuse box down here except for the horn. The horn is getting 14.5 volts or whatever. Seems high, but I have the battery charger plugged in, so the battery is probably getting 14 volts or 14.5 volts anyway. So that's the only voltage I'm getting from that fuse box right there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so you can see the readout here on my multimeter. So again, this 7.5 inch amp fuse here, I think I said inch, 7.5 amp fuse. If I touch this and this, well, I have nothing now. Oh, there we go. I think I hit it. So you can see I got 12.5 volts there, 13 volts. Hopefully you can see that around my hand. But if I touch any of these others, I do not get any kind of voltage through there. So, are every one of these fuses blown? Well, I'm going to put it on continuity and I'm going to test them. So like for example, put it over here on continuity. My buzzer is about gone. So you can hear it there. Continuity there. That fuse is good. That fuse is good. That fuse is good. So I'm going to test them out. They all seem like they're good so far. But the problem is, if you notice here, this daggone fuse box is riveted to the rod box. So in order to get at the wires to make sure nothing's burned up back there, I literally have to drill those rivets out. That is dumb. Thanks, Ranger. Alright, I misspoke in the last video there. There shouldn't be power going through the fuses unless the switches are on. I had all the switches on a second ago, was testing voltage through there. Was only getting voltage through the horn. But done some finagling back there in the battery compartment, and I figured out that there was a wire that was cut. I assume when they were trying to get that battery to start the engine, they just pulled up on it and it came off. I'm not sure, but I got it working. I got the horn, got continuity on all the fuses now. As far as, you know, I tested with continuity to make sure the fuses were good. They're all good. I'm getting a few things that are coming to life, which is good stuff. None of this stuff would work a minute ago, so you can see, got horn. The starboard aerator, which is obviously the driver's side, works. The port aerator, you guys are seeing probably the steering wheel, I apologize, but again, the live well pump for the starboard live well works. You can hear it. No go on the port aerator. Also, no bilge pump. Bilge pump and all these switches were left on, as I mentioned in the previous video. So burn up this pump and the bilge pump. So I'm gonna have to talk to Dusty, see what he wants to do with that. But do have some power to the Garmin here, which is something we didn't have earlier. I think that was part of that wire that was cut back there. Fix that. So the Garmin here does work. I'm gonna have to figure out why the Humminbird up there won't come on. Probably a loose wire, I would say. Once I get that done, I did fix the trolling motor to where it's like how it should be. I talked to you guys about that on one of the previous videos. It was like all wonky. Again, whoever buys this boat is going to want to put a recessed trolling motor tray in here, I would say. So we're getting there, ladies and gents. I am, I don't know, pretty happy with progress today. We got the trim doesn't work up front. I don't know if it ever has. I'm going to ask them, find out where that wire goes, tie it in back here to the trim. Trim does work, but the bow switch doesn't work. So I'm going to look at that. But I'm getting somewhere. And that's all we can ask for right now in this old 1997 Ranger Sport R82. Well, bilge pumps have a cartridge system in it. You guys can see that or not, but that's not what one's supposed to look like. That thing has got super hot where it was just left on, and it's lucky that this boat didn't catch on fire. So there's that. I gotta find the cartridge for that. Same one for the live well pump though, so that's pretty good. So I just ordered 2 of these things and get that fixed. Again, the wires do get plugged in right here, so they're fairly simplistic to put in there. But it's kind of the growing pains of working on an older boat. You know, you never know what you're gonna find. But this thing's pretty easy to get to. So it's not super bad. It's not going to be that hard to fix, I don't think. So I can order some of these. Well, as you can tell, pretty sweaty. Been working my rear end off on this boat. Found out again one of the bilge pumps was bad, or the bilge pump was bad. Replaced that whole cartridge. The other live well pump that wasn't working, it was just seized up. Sprayed it with some like Aerocoil over there. Fired right up, spun the way it should. Just where it hasn't been used in a year. The bilge or the live well pumps were wrong labeled on the switches. Port ran the starboard, starboard ran the port. Swap the connectors back here, fix that. So guys, I mean, I think that's practically going to do it for this build. Again, not my boat. It is for sale. Again, has a Mariner 135 electric choke, electric tilt trim. Has a Garmin Striker Plus 5SV CV, I think there. Works fine. Tilt trim works fine. Flasher in that dash right there still works, which is crazy. You can see it there. Horn works. Everything works as it should. Now the bilge pump works. Everything, as far as I know, works as it should. I fixed the bow trim, the accessory. That's why the Humminbird wasn't working on, because that Humminbird is actually wired to the accessory up there, the accessory switch. Have to turn it on. But it's ready for a new owner. Everything works as far as I know as it should. The compartments up there are pretty grody right now. I'm going to send it back to Dusty's and let him deal with that, or maybe you can if you buy it. But I'm really proud of how this thing right here looks, because man, if you guys saw it there when we very first got started on this boat, it was a catastrophe. Everything down there, you know, as it should be. Wire coming out of there is the charger, hydraulic steering. It has boat buckles on the back, not boat buckles, boat straps. Dual console, 65-pound Maxim trolling motor, works just fine. Trolling motor batteries will need to be replaced here soon. They're 5 years old. But other than that, guys, just a little bit of TLC and elbow grease. Got this old 1997. Ready to get back out there and lean on a few. So it's been a pretty good project. A couple of things that don't work on it. The trailer brakes do not work on the trailer. As far as I know, the lights all work. I checked them the other day; they work fine. But it could be the actuator. That's the seals are gone out of it, or it could be they just need to be bled. I'm not dealing with it. It's not my boat. So if that's something they want to deal with, that's fine. The hot foot pedal, the cable is either going to need to be replaced or lubed. It's pretty. It's pretty tough to push. You gotta return it back with your foot too. But it could be the actual pedal. You maybe throw some air coil or something down on there, might fix it. But I'm not going to get it on the carpet because it's not my boat. It does work. Is a little rough to push in and out though, so that's something that needs to be fixed. But 1997 RD2 Sport Ranger, ready to rock and roll. If you're looking for a tournament ready rig, man, this is it. I mean, it's got everything you need. It's got kill switch, got a couple graphs. It's not top of the line boat, but it's a super nice boat for somebody needing a first boat, or you just want to get out and enjoy it with your family. It doesn't even have to be a fishing boat. I mean, you can do whatever you want to in this thing. So, been a pretty cool deal, man. I've learned a little bit, and hopefully I'll see this thing out on the water again.